go. Awesome. First time in this room, so I got warned about the lights. This is bright. Well, I appreciate everybody being here. We've had just about an incredible week here. We're 6 days, 7 days in. Give you just the what we've done here in the last week. It's been a combination. Priority being meeting with the guys that are here. When I got here Sunday a week ago, that was what I told the team. That's what we've done. I've got a couple guys left in terms of the entire roster, but I've spent endless amount of time meeting with each guy individually, and a lot of these guys I've known through the recruiting process, and then there's a handful that I didn't. And the ones you know, it's kind of a rekindling. It's the ones you don't know, it takes time. You're trying to build a relationship as quickly as you can. Spent time watching through every single guy. They've played here. You've watched that film. If they didn't, you're watching high school film. That's been the ultimate priority. From there, working on putting a staff together. We're close. Fortunate to be coming from a place where we had elite level coaches, elite level support staff. I've brought a handful, gonna bring some more, and then the opportunity to go and hire the absolute best. The way we've approached this hiring process is really, really simple. There's a standard of how we're gonna do things here. I spoke about it a week ago today, and that goes with bringing elite people in. And every conversation I've had, it has been literally, man, this person's really good, this person's really great. That's awesome. I want elite. We want elite at every single spot. And that goes from the on the field to the support staff, to the personnel, to the scouting, to the training room, to the nutrition side, to the strength and conditioning side, every single aspect of the program. We've got the resources to go hire the best people in the country. And that's exactly what we've tried to do as we're continuing to fill this staff out. It's going to take a minute to get everything filled. There's a ton of people that are still playing, a ton of people in the playoffs. And you're working through all of that. Again, credit to our administration for giving us the resources to do that part the right way. And then right in the middle of all of that was signing day. And that process was fascinating. Getting here, getting on the phone with all of those kids while trying to do the priority, which is meet with our kids, the priority also being the signing class. And what we did was we tried to go after the very best players, tried to build as fast relationships as possible. It's helped with having some retention in terms of the on the field staff to be able to go finish that. There's a couple of guys that were committed to us at the previous place that we knew were big time players that if this was to happen that we would want. And just so happened to be that a couple of those guys are local. As we spent time in this state recruiting really heavily over the last couple of years, it worked out that those guys wanted to be a part of it. We felt like they could help us as we lay a foundation for the future of the program. So really excited about how that finished up. And now we're heading into this 3-week period where we're continuing to build relationships with our guys, getting people in the building that are going to be a part of this staff permanently, and then head into January full steam ahead, getting out on the road, attacking what's needed through the transfer portal. More importantly than anything else, getting these guys back on campus and starting to build what will be the foundation for the fall. So I'll open it up to questions from there.
We'll go Jason, Brian, Hope, JG to start. We'll get through everybody, guys, I promise.
So Jason Call, Auburn Undercover 247. You mentioned transfer portal. How do you approach that now as you go roster retention versus what you're looking for? And any thoughts on maybe some of the directions you might want to head early on?
Yeah, Jason. So priority again would be the retention of the guys that you feel like fit, the guys that you feel like can help, and ultimately guys that want to be here. I think we're still a couple of weeks away from truly knowing, man, if there is a match there of, man, we want this guy here and he wants to be here. We're trying to get to that decision as fast as we possibly can to know, man, is there a hole there or is there not? We're a couple weeks away from that. the intent for me coming in, and I said this a week ago, is not to run guys out of here, but to make sure that we find the guys that, again, want to be here. We want them here, and that match can happen. Then you don't have a hole. It varies with every situation's absolutely different. It's the depth in the room. Has the young man played or not? Are you retaining him off of potential? Are they wanting to stay off of giving us a chance? Like, each spot is completely different. So to say how we're totally attacking the portal today, I could give you some thoughts that I would probably want to keep private, and that those thoughts will drastically change in the next 3 weeks. Our intention is always going to be moving forward to recruit high school kids, develop them, and honestly develop them better than anybody in the country, and have these guys here for 3, 4, 5 years. The expectation from me, as well as our fan base, as well as this administration, is to have the very best football team you can this fall as well. So those got to meet in the middle somewhere. I think the way we attack it in our process, from pre-portal to what the portal will look like to the recruiting of those young men, like that part, those processes are established. In terms of who we're actually going after and where are the positions in need, some are glaring. Like, you could tell me some of those, right? Like, those are pretty simple. But then there's some where it's totally going to determine, what's going to determine it is who's staying, who's not. And so that's why it'll change. But there's a couple that you and I both could sit there and be like, man, like, you need some help. Matter of fact, I've gotten a lot of calls about that. But I can sit and look at it and say, I've tried to come in with genuinely, without passing judgment, until I was able to truly evaluate the roster, watch the film. What's awesome coming in is you've got practice film. Like, you could see the progression of these guys. And I'm counting on, honestly, my own evaluation in a lot of ways, but I'm counting on our staff too to sit here and dig and do this research. I think this calendar, the way it is right now, although crazy in a lot of ways, is an advantage to a staff coming in, because you do have time before January when it actually opens up.
Alex, Brian Matthews on with Rivals. We talk about roster building, laying foundation. Do you want to go out there recruiting-wise to compete with the top teams, SEC and Big Ten, for top 10 type classes, and then sort of supplement with the portal, or do you have a different sort of plan with the way you build that roster?
Yeah, to me, it starts with the high school guys, and I've said that already. This is a place where you should be able to recruit elite high-level talent, elite high-level people, and develop them all the way through. That expectation's also got to meet the expectation of, in order to be able to do that, you've got to have proof of concept and have something to recruit to. That something to recruit to is Auburn University, the investment that's been made in the facilities, and the investment that's been made in personnel here. But on the flip side of that, you want to show proof of concept of what you're going to do from a football side. There's obviously some with me coming from a situation where we could say, man, like, this is what we are offensively. There's proof of concept here defensively with DJ and what he's been able to build and do. And so you're trying to match those two to be able to have proof of concept of us at Auburn University this coming fall. So that's where the balance is. You want to be the very best version of us this fall that you possibly can be, while recruiting and building for a sustainable long-term program at the same time. So without sacrificing the long-term piece, we're going to go and recruit through the portal pieces that we feel like we're missing, and guys that could come in and help us. There's going to be some instant impact guys. There's also going to be some young guys that there's relationships from throughout the staff that are somewhere that either were minimal contributors or just young guys that maybe contribute a lot, that would kind of fill those slots of some high school spots that we didn't get last Wednesday. So it's going to be a mix there of both. I think your question of, man, are you guys going to try to get top 10 classes here? Well, man, I would certainly hope that we would go and recruit at the elite of the elite level, whether that quantifies to a top 10 class on Rivals or on 3 or 247 or whatever. man, I would assume those would match. We're going to go get the very best football players that fit what we do, that fit our culture, that can enhance our culture. Whether that equates to a top 10 class or not, I don't know, but we're going to recruit at the highest level you possibly can. And so the ultimate expectation would be that within this 250-mile radius, we're going to do everything we can to keep these kids home. We're going to go national at some spots where that we may not be able to get locally here. And then at the end of the day, we'll supplement, especially through this first year or two, with the portal. I think the portal is always going to be silly not to, especially when guys from this area have left and there's an opportunity to bring them back when they're high level players for a multitude of different reasons. I think that's why this job is so attractive too, is because you look at whether it's 250, 300 miles around here, this is the best high school football in the entire country in that area. So guys will inherently, people come down here and recruit, guys will leave. We want to be a place where they can come back to if they fit what we're doing. But I think long term, you want to recruit high school, develop high school, and supplement with the portal. And I think that would be the perfect formula as we go.
Coach,
Alex Justin, in Auburn Sports, on Three Sports. Talk about maybe some of the conversations today. You don't want to go in depth, but what were the conversations like with some of the staff that you had to let go? Like, how does that go? And what's the importance of, how do you value loyalty and bringing the guys with you that have been with you at South Florida in that equation? How do you sort of go through the process of keeping and retaining and valuing, I think, the loyalty of bringing the guys that have been with you and building what you got there?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think it's a balance of both. As you come into a place, inherently, there's two situations you walk into, and if it's too deep, tell me. But there's situations where guys walk into jobs where there was high level of success and that person had moved on. That's one situation you walk into that you got to evaluate in one way. And then there's situations where you walk into where there wasn't a level of success or the standard wasn't met, and so there's a coaching change. Both are uniquely different. In my lifetime, for whatever reason, I kept walking into the latter. And so you walk in understanding that there wasn't a level of success, but were there areas that there was success? And those are the first ones you want to look at, and you're like, well, who is in charge of that? And man, is there valuable people? Because these are like in the media world, it's like you hire, you fire, you move, and it's just kind of like you just keep people moving along. These are human beings that have families, that have careers. So there's an emotional element to all of it. At least in my mind, you try to treat people and deal with people just like you would want to be treated. I've been on the other side of it too. I think if you've coached long enough, you've been on both sides of it. So my intent coming in here was figure out where the areas that are elite or are at a standard that we would want it at, and sit down with those people and really look at why they're doing what they're doing at an elite level, and maybe there's an opportunity to retain and continue to be a part of our staff. You look at areas that weren't successful and you look at those a little bit differently. I think on the flip of it, there's certain people that have helped you build through your time, whether it's as a coordinator, or as a head coach, that you're like, man, like I ain't doing this job without that guy. So there's that human element of that as well. And you're trying to mix both. I think ultimately you've got to have a group of men and women that you know will do it the right way at your standard every single day that you do this. And the right way for us is really simple. Like the best things you could possibly do for the young men in your program, you want to be able to keep those people around. They've given us full reign to do whatever we got to do to build it from the ground up. There is some high level people here that have been here, that have answers to a lot of questions that I've sat down with and said, man, like I got to feel you out. I'm not really quick to trust either. And I also understand the magnitude of what this job is. I also understand the magnitude of the expectations here. And I also understand that you get one shot at this. And ultimately, I'm going to hire and bring people in here that I know will do what's right by the young men in this program, will do what's right by the recruiting process in this area, and ultimately give us the best chance to go be successful and win, both in recruiting and then the actual football games that matter. And so it's a huge mix. The loyalty to me, and I told our staff before I left at South Florida, the reason why we're getting this opportunity is because of them. Also told them that I'm going to make sure that everybody there, in some way, shape, or form, ends up in a good situation or in a good place. I think everybody's aware that's done this job that you can't ultimately bring everybody, and there's some people that you just don't feel like fit, and that may be regional, that may be things that happen there that just don't fit. But at the end of the day, you're trying to find a balance. There's also people that I've worked with over the years or have admired from afar. I'm like, man, like if I get an opportunity to hire this guy or this girl, like, man, like I'm all in on this person. And so it's a mix of all of it. And the balancing of getting people here quickly, but also getting the right people here has been the most important part of what we're trying to do. And it's also not just putting a bunch of people in a building and saying go. There's got to be fit, and that's fit in every aspect of the program. And that's again from the on the field staff to the support staff around them to the young coaches, to then again you go back and it's sports medicine, it's creative, it's strength, it's nutrition, it's every single person that touches these guys. Ultimately, you said the word loyalty. I think loyalty is absolutely critical, but I also think that loyalty doesn't mean that, man, this person would never leave you. I think loyalty is doing the very best job you can day in, day out, doing right by the guys in the program, doing right by the people you work with as hard as you can every single day. And that doesn't mean you don't ever leave. Like, there have been a lot of people that I've worked with that have worked for us, with us, that have left, that are sitting upstairs right now working because they left for a better opportunity or a better opportunity for them and their families. Now, I say all of that with the last part of what I've done in terms of our staff is there have been some positions that we've let go simply because we've got people that we're bringing in. But there's also a bunch of people in the building that I'm meeting with this week to truly gauge where they are, whether they fit what we do or not, that I've got to sit down with and have conversations, continue to do background to make sure that at the end of this whole process, we end up with the best group of men and women that are going to help us be successful in every aspect of our program.
Go Jay, Johnny, Bird.
Yeah, it's JG with Auburn Sports on 3. You said in your first press conference you really wanted defense to be really attacky and aggressive. I figured you would like DJ. He's that way. Talk about your decision to hire him, to retain him, and just kind of what your favorite thing is about what you think he's going to bring here.
Yeah, I think DJ, again, talked about the staffing. I've known DJ since I was in college. Coached against DJ, admired watching. You can flip the film on and know what DJ Durkin's about. I think being around him now every day for over a week, it's reinforced for me what I thought all along going into it. It's also different when you've coached against them as a coordinator, and you're sitting there and you've got a week to know every single thing about this guy and how he's going to call a game and tendencies and how he thinks. Like when I was an offensive coordinator, I would spend every living moment as you game plan trying to figure out a guy's tendencies, what makes a guy tick, what pisses him off, where can you find that edge to go score one more point than these guys. And so for me, being around DJ here for over a week now, again, we go so far back. We know so many of the same people. We've been in touch. And as I was going through this process, like, it's, whether I'm supposed to say this or not, but like DJ in my mind, as I was gonna go through and put a staff together, DJ was the defensive coordinator I wanted to hire. And so for me, how fortunate I think I am to be able to get a veteran guy that's, in my opinion, the best in the country right now, with experience in this conference, playing these same teams that we're going to play. And as you sit and talk to these guys that have played here for him defensively, like the sentiment is all the same: organized, thorough, detailed, incredible motivator, and above all of that, just a really good human being that cares about the young guys in the program. Because I think sometimes that gets lost too. It's like these guys are still young men that need mentors, that need guided, that want to be cared about, that want to be told the truth. Like all of those things are critically important to me, are critically important to DJ. And we continue to have conversations throughout every single day of personnel, scheme, practice planning, calendars. Like DJ's so eager to get going because I think there's like this breath of fresh air for him as well. But to answer your question, that decision's really easy because I do truly believe that that's one of the best football minds in the country. I truly believe that's one of the best, not just defensive coordinators in the country, but one of the best football coaches. He's done it at a high level for a really, really long time for a reason because he is one of the best to do it. And for me to be able to partner with somebody like that is special. I think we're going to grow through this process here, and my hope is as we put this roster together, as we build this team, we build this foundation, as we put the defensive staff together too, that it's as in sync as it's ever been and all moving in the same direction. That would be the expectation and the standard for us as a staff moving forward. He's going to lead the defense. He's going to be a huge part of my decision making in terms of how we move forward on the recruiting side. He's going to be a huge part of my decision making as we move forward through the offseason plan and into the summer, into the season, as will Coach Gordon, and as will, from a special team side, as will Coach Gio and our strength staff. Like I'm excited to have him. I'm excited to be a part of this program with him leading the defensive charge. And you had another question there. I can't remember what you asked.
Oh, that's enough. Plenty. Thank you.
You got enough?
Yeah, I'm good.
Let's ride. Good.
So Johnny, the mic deferred, and then give me some hands again here when we get through some of those.
Hey, Alex, Johnny Cobb at ABC 3340 Sports in Birmingham back here. It's reported that Auburn turned down a little bit. I'm just interested if you can confirm that and what was kind of the thought process behind not playing in a bowl game.
Yeah, Johnny, I think if it all had happened a week ago and our guys were all here, the staff that was previously here was still here intact for the most part, I think that would have been realistic. I think you go through the week, and when that question was posed to us, there's multiple things that go into it. One, there's so much staff turnover that it would be hard to truly be able to put it all together and be competitive to where you have a chance to go win a football game. If you're going to go play a game, you're going to go win the game. I think the other part of it is our guys, there's so many of them that are done with finals, that were able to get out and go home and be with their families for a little while here. So to be able to get everybody back together, figure out who the heck is going to coach them, how you would actually do that, the timing of it all was just not practical. It just wasn't realistic. I think, would you love to go play a game? Absolutely. Would you love to go compete and win a game? Absolutely. But the timing of it all, just not realistic. And John and I talked about it at length twice, to be able to get the guys back here, to be able to do what we have to do to go field a football team that can go win, with so many conversations happening right now about roster management and all of it combined with, I would tell you about 75% of the guys aren't here. I think that would be really unrealistic and not fair to the kids more than anybody else. So it just didn't make any sense.
Mike, and then Ferg.
Coach Michael Gibbons, for Auburn. Your AD's office has laid the groundwork for you to have the resources to go out and get players in the portal. With you bringing in Andrew Warsaw and Alex Fagan, can you talk about how you guys work together to decide where to put NIL dollars to build this next staff? And, coaches around the country said to get a top level quarterback, for example, in the portal, you got to spend $1 million. What's your approach going to be to NIL and where to put dollars to build this next roster?
Yeah, so Andrew coming in is huge for me. He's been in this league for a long time. He's got a unique background with being in the operations side, being in the front office side, being in the chief of staff world in terms of overseeing the entire staff from a structure standpoint. Huge resource for me, and this is now our third staff together. And as the NIL side has grown in terms of just relevance, importance, the fundraising that goes into some of that, he's grown with it. He's cutting edge. He's high level intelligent, and he's also somebody that I trust dearly, and the staff that's been with him trust dearly. I think that part is as critical as anything. Is that you know that those two sides are working together. They have to. That general manager role is working in the same exact direction as the head coach, and then the coaches and the staff that work with them. In terms of the approach, it's a unified front in the sense that I'm using every resource we have here to make decisions. We've got a structure and I hate to use the word template. It's not really a template as much as a layout of where the funding within a roster should be. I think when you look at it, if you were to just start from scratch, it'd be really, really simple. If you were to start at ground zero, and also if you were drafting rather than recruiting, it would be really, really simple. It would look very similar to an NFL structure. When you walk into a situation like this, where there's obviously a roster, there's some high level players here, and then there's some guys that haven't played, and then there's everything in the middle. You're going to have to adjust to what the roster is and where guys are currently at, if for lack of a better term. So it's going to take a couple of years to get to what we feel like is the right structure for what it should look like. Right now, the key emphasis is retention as well as recruiting. And so we're working hand in hand in both of those areas, the retention and the recruiting side. I think ultimately that relationship that Andrew has with me, with our staff, and as he's working so incredibly hard to build with everybody else that touches the program, from an administrative standpoint to the NIL efforts here, to obviously the rev share construction as it's been done by the administration, which our administration is as cutting edge and thorough in how they have built it. It's really fascinating. And then partnering with them to make sure that we're continuing to grow, we're continuing to build relationships, we're continuing to do everything in our power to be the most competitive in the country. Andrew is overseeing those efforts for me. In a lot of ways, is my right hand in every aspect of that. I think what's really unique and what I think maybe hard to quantify or explain is when you've been around, because as much as these guys are getting paid as they should, they're still young men that are growing, developing, both as men, as football players, in every aspect of their life. They're still in college. They're still college kids in a huge way. It's hard in year one when a chunk of them don't know who you are. And so you're trying to explain a vision, trying to explain a plan for each of these guys. And at the same time, you know that a year from now, there's going to be a culture set and a program that they're going to feel like they're a part of. And the money piece is still going to be critically important, but not as important because they're going to be a part of something that they've helped build. So there's juggling a lot of it at the same time, trying to make the best decisions, one decision at a time. To be honest with you, that's what the last 7 days have been in every imaginable way. It's a series of decisions every minute of every day that ultimately I'm sitting there making, and you're trying to surround yourself with the very best people you can that know who you are, know what you like, know what makes you tick. And you asked about Alex Fagan. Well, Alex has been with me for so long, and he has grown into one of the best personnel guys that I've ever been around, that is also helping us make decisions from a scouting side, from an overseeing of a personnel standpoint. So as much as Andrew is the general manager and is helping in every imaginable way from a roster management standpoint. We've got a team, Alex is one of them, but we've got a team that we've brought. We've got a team that we're hiring. There's in some ways people here that have helped and will continue to help. And I think as a team, between the scouting, the personnel, the advanced scouting side, and ultimately our coaches, we'll put together the very best roster we possibly can with the resources allotted here in as fast of a time span as we possibly can.
I'm gonna go Ferg, Bill, Jerry, Dan, Jacob. We'll circle back once we'll work it through it here. A lot of questions.
Justin Ferguson, Auburn Observer. Obviously, it's tough, when you come in and get hired, and then 72 hours later, you got to sign a recruiting class. How did you feel like you guys did in that? Because there's so many moving parts, and that's obviously a tough situation in a short amount of time. How would you kind of evaluate how your guys did, signing that first class?
Yeah, I'll give you the true answer on signing class questions in general. I think you'll know in a couple of years. Some positions faster than others, but I've never thought that winning signing day, quote unquote, is critically important. I think if you try to win signing day, you're probably barking up the wrong tree in a lot of ways. I think if you win football games, probably helps you a little bit more. Probably appreciated in a lot of ways, and that's not a cop out. Don't take it this way for what the class was. I think for having 72 hours to piece it together, I think we got high level guys and just as important high level character to come in here and help us lay a foundation for what this culture is and what it's going to be. There was some guys that we got that I didn't think we could get. There were some guys that we got that, or some guys we didn't get that I really wanted to get. I try not to judge it in any way until at a minimum this fall, to where at least you're like, man, like physically that guy's got the traits, mentally that guy's got the traits. But in reality, especially at this level, where you're playing the best talent in the entire country, I think we evaluate the class at least 24 months from now and see where those guys are at. But the reception was incredible. Every single guy, whether they were committed here or that I reached out to, was receptive, listened. Some guys were just too deep somewhere else. Some guys said, you know what, like I believe in you, and I just wouldn't come play for you where you were at before. It just wasn't big enough for me. And now here we go. We're at on the biggest stage in the country. So I would tell you, I left really Friday morning. I left feeling like, man, I can't actually believe we got that done. Now let's see what they look like. So positive in every imaginable way there.
Bill Cameron with The Drive on ESPN 106.7. I understand you're still putting the coaching staff together, but you mentioned Coach Gordon. Can you talk a little bit about him? And is there anybody else that you can officially announce on the staff?
Yeah. So Joe Gordon and I have been together. We go back to our Iowa State time. We got there at the same time. There's no substitute for going to battle with guys day in, day out, over and over again. Joel's one of the smartest people I've ever been around. Joel's a much better coach than I am. High level developer of the quarterback and an elite level play caller. Brilliant in every imaginable way. On top of all that is an incredible human, incredible coach, develops relationships on a very, very real level with guys, and not just a ton of personality when you're in a setting like this, but in a room, one of the funniest people you could ever imagine. Does a great job leading, very cool, calm demeanor, which I've been known to be the complete opposite. So I need that, and you'll see as on our staff, I found a fine balance of guys that could keep me down and guys that could bring me up. But Joel left a situation 3 years ago that was really, really good from a football side to come with me to South Florida and has helped us build what I guess ended up being the number 2 offense in the country. He's a huge part of that, and one of the best coaches I've been around. So really lucky that he decided to come with. I think officially we're still working through the rest of the hires, but I think there'll be a release out tonight with at least the guys that are totally official. But Joel, I don't even know if he's official or not, but Joel's a hell of a ball coach and an incredible dude. But from a quarterback development standpoint, the best I've been around.
Jerry?
Coach, Jerry, I'm with AO.com. Your meetings with some of the players, what's some of the things you learned about last year's roster and how they kind of bought into what you're bringing here on?
Yeah, really awesome question. I think the thing that that's been, and I don't know if unexpected is the word, more so like I get taken aback, is 100% of the guys that I met with, literally every single guy, and the conversations go where they go. There's no script to it at all. But at some point in every conversation, I ask the guys like, "Hey, do you like it here? Like, or do you love it? Like, what do you think of this place?" Because 100% of them have seen more of Auburn and have experienced Auburn more than I have at this point. And I think the thing that's really cool is every single guy that I've met with says, "I love Auburn." Not, yeah, it's cool, but I love Auburn. I've never been at a place where 100% of the guys say that. And some guys have had incredible experiences from a football side. Some guys haven't. Some guys have had incredible experiences with certain coaches they've been around, and some guys haven't. That part is inconsistent as you go through it. But the part that's been as consistent as anything, like I'm energized. Every time those guys say that, I'm like for real? Like, it's that cool, man? Like, it's real? They all love it, and they all talk about the same things, how the people here have taken them in. Every single one of them talks about what game day's like here. Every single one of them talks about how the student body treats them as they walk around. And my response to all of them is exactly the same, man. Like, can you imagine what the hell it's going to be when we actually win? Like, if it's that good now, like, holy smokes, like, what about when we win? Like, now? And they all kind of look at you like you can do that for us? Like, I can't, because I'm not very fast, but you can. There you go. There you have it. But in reality, that's the part that's like energizing as you sit there, and it kind of sits you up in your chair every single time, because you're like, well, if you love Auburn, then tell me what the hell the problem is, and then tell me what your experience has been here. And each guy has had their own story and their own experience here. But ultimately, what we talk about is, and all you can do is tell them who you are, what you're about, and you give them your vision for what this is. But you talk about your previous experience. Like, for me, you do feel like you're sitting there and you're quote unquote recruiting, but ultimately, and I think I've gotten to this point in my career by just being who I am. And we talk about what this program is going to be. I refer a lot back to the last couple of places I've been in leadership roles where, man, this is what we built, not from a win-loss standpoint. A lot of it is a development and culture standpoint. Like, this is what's really important to me. Is it important to you? And then on the flip of it, like, what's important to you? Like, what makes you go? What makes you the player that you are? Give me your recruiting journey. Why'd you come here? And to be honest with you, every single guy, in some way, shape, or form, the conversation leads to the same thing, which is like, man, I understand you didn't choose me. Like, there's nobody sitting in that team room, nobody I've met with that has chosen me or had chosen me. They chose Auburn, they chose a previous staff. But the truth is, I chose them. And I'm here because I wanted to be here. And I'm here because I want to be a huge part of why we flip this thing to what people here expect it to be. And ultimately, some of those conversations are 15 minutes. Some have been an hour. Some have been at 6 a.m. Some have sat there till 1 a.m. Is what it is. But at the end of the day, I'm energized by the fact that every single one of them loves this place. And I'm telling you, I said it the other day in an interview. Got one of my closest friends in this profession and really in life, Cody Burns. And I don't know if that one's official yet or not, but there's one for you. But KB, and I've known KB forever. KB and my wife are from the same hometown. Like I've watched KB's career, and I watched his career here, and then I had an opportunity to hire him, and I had an opportunity to hire him again, and then I had an opportunity to hire him again. And for as long as I've known KB, he continues to say, "Man, Auburn's special. Auburn's different." And I'll be honest with you, forever, like, man, like that's your alma mater. It should be. You had a great run there, man. You've got a national championship ring. It should be special. And he's like, no, 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 no. Like you don't understand. Like it's different. Like, man, I think my alma mater is different. It's awesome. He's like, no, 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 it's different. You just got to be there to feel it. And I've always discounted it as KB being KB, loves his alma mater. And I've been here for a week, and I haven't been outside of this little area here very often, except to go to the hotel. But as you meet people, you talk to the players, you meet people who this is important to, which is everybody that you touch. I'm like, man, like KB, I'm starting to understand why it's different. And I haven't been part of a game day, but even the Tiger Walk for my press conference to the welcome that I felt, I can see what he means. And I get goosebumps thinking about, man, like I get to coach at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Like I get to do that. But when we get to that point, I think it'll set in that why this place really is different. And I think unless you've been here, you don't know. And I can't wait to continue to learn about why. But I think KB was right in that way.
Dan?
Dan Peck, ESPN 1067. You inherit a roster with a couple of quarterbacks who have eligibility remaining, the portal opens in a couple of weeks. What sorts of things do you and your staff prioritize when you're deciding if someone will be a right fit at the quarterback position?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into the QB spot. And you're right. We walked into a situation where there's uber talented guys that we've got to continue to work through with them on, man, this is what we want to do offensively. This is how we feel like you fit. And then you want to make sure that you fit them too. I think the biggest thing at that spot is having guys that are high level, intelligent playmakers that have a skill set that you can build an offense around. We have an offensive vision for what we want this to be, but I've said this before, we've evolved every single year based on what the quarterback skill set is and what your personnel around him is. We're still working through every single guy that's here that's still here in terms of whether they're a fit, whether we're a fit for them. Like that does take time. You think about quarterback recruiting, most of the time it takes a year, sometimes 2 years to get to a landing spot where a young man and his family feel like they're a fit for what you do. I think I've met with everyone that's here and have really grown to appreciate what each one brings to the table. They all have film, they've all played, and for us, I've said this a week ago, my intent is not to blow the room up at all. Quite the opposite. My intent is to have everybody here that wants to be here. Because I think there's individually enough talent and enough potential and in a lot of ways enough production to say, man, like we can go win at some point with you. The one thing I will say is it's a room full of really, really good dudes that want to get better, want to know what it's going to take. And then when we're done with as fast as we can this get to know phase, like do we need to bring anybody else in? And the intent for us is to have a 1 and a 2 and a 3 that are as talented as imaginably possible, but also bought into what we're doing, also able to lead, also can functionally do it to give us the opportunity to go win games.
Coach Jacob Goins, ESPN 1067 and the Auburn Network. You just went in depth on quarterbacks, we'll step away from that. But you talked about watching film on all the guys in different positions from practice and from games and such. Can you go in depth or at least tell us what positions you have taken note of that are going to be an advantage to you in terms of your recruiting and the guys who are here? Like, what positions stand out to you already with the talent on this roster?
Yeah, I mean, pretty obvious to say, man, you watch the defense and there's depth, there is an attitude, there's an effort of guys flying around and making plays, opportunistic plays. There's an intent with what's going on that side of the ball. I probably would rather not get into individual positions on that part of it, but you could tell there's a culture, and there's scheme fits, there's an intent to go get the football back and get people off the field. There's talent all over the place there. They're graduated some guys that are going to get a chance to go play and continue to play as they should, and for hopefully a long time. There's a bunch of young guys that played defensively a year ago, and that's encouraging to see these young guys play on the biggest stage in some critical moments and make a bunch of plays. Some young guys that played that you could tell took their lumps that I'm excited to go to work with this spring. I think you look at offensively, there's a handful of guys up front that have graduated. There is skill at the wideout positions, and then everywhere else you feel like you've got a running back that was uber productive. There's just not much behind it in terms of what you can see on film, on game film. Now you flip on the practice film and you see a lot of promise. Now we're still going through the process of figuring out, man, what do the numbers truly need to be at each of these spots? There's also guys that are figuring out, I mean, like the truth is, and it's been highly covered, like there's guys trying to figure out, do they want to be a part of this? And some really important guys that are high level players. And so to say, man, this is what we got to go get would be unfair until we get to that point at the beginning of January that you're like, man, like there's true hole. But there's offensively, there is pieces all over the place. What we're in the middle of trying to figure out is where exactly do we need to fill more holes, and a lot of depth issues in terms of where do we need to create depth, and is it immediate depth, or is it, man, we could take a young guy here that can develop in a year or two, and ultimately then mold an offense around them. Special teams in the same breath, like the specialist situation, making sure that you've got exactly what you need to be able to go be elite. And I think ultimately, I know you keep hearing me say that word. I think the expectation for us, and I would imagine it is as we go here, like it's not, man, where can we be really good? It's where can we be elite? And how long will it take to get to that level where we're playing elite level defense, elite level offense, elite level special teams? And that's what we're going to try to get there as fast as we can. But we're continuing to plug through. And I think as we get our staff here totally, like for me, I have a hard time making a decision on a position without sitting there and talking to the guy that's going to coach it. I want his input. I have my own opinion, but I want his input. And that's everywhere across both sides of the ball, and really all three sides of the ball.
Dave?
Hey, Alex, you came over in your cover. I know you just mentioned you want to get all your coaches in place, and that's not quite done yet, but retaining DJ Durkin on defense, do you think that can help with some of the roster retention on that side of the ball? Obviously, guys toward the end of last season talked so much about DJ and how much they enjoyed playing for him, how much they liked playing for him. Do you think that can maybe help your efforts with some of that talent retention?
Yeah, I would think so. I tried to keep that out of our decision-making process in general, but I would tell you the neat thing about DJ, it's not just the defensive side. For the time that he was the interim head coach, and I think even before that, these offensive guys that had a chance to play for him under his leadership absolutely love him. I think the genuine approach he took, and obviously I wasn't here, but hearing those guys talk about Coach Durkin, they certainly they certainly, as a whole, felt like, man, like this is a dude we can play for. This is a dude that is real, is honest, is working as hard as he wants us to work. So I would tell you, really, on both sides, it's certainly a familiar face that they respect and trust. So 100% would help in the retention side of it.
Christian, last one.
Hey, Coach, Chris Rick with ESPN 1067. In Auburn, the transfer portal calendar is completely different than it has been in the past. You don't have that spring window anymore. Is there any added pressure for first-year coaches, or is there any strategical changes of making sure you get the guys that you needed, maybe even one more in those positions where you see you could need somebody now that you don't have that fail-safe, is going out and getting somebody in the spring?
That's an awesome question. There's no pressure at all, right? In my chair, this is a pressureless job, so no, I feel no pressure at all. But all joking aside, the pressure is on making decisions really quickly. That's where, I think for years it's been, man, I want to see, by years I mean the last 3, man, I want to see this guy through spring, or I want to see this group through spring, and then see, man, do we need to add somebody there? You don't have that luxury anymore. You're trying to make those decisions. I think for a first-year coach, you hit it dead on. Like, that's an awesome question. Like, you're having to make these decisions off of game film, yes, practice film, which wasn't your own practice film, in a different scheme than what you're running, at least offensively. Defensively, you feel like there's continuity there. But you're trying to make decisions off of a young man that you've never been able to work with, put your hands on. Like you've never been able to work with these guys. So the pressure is definitely on to make the right decisions. You're trying to gather as much information as imaginably possible to make real, authentic decisions. And it's not so much, man, who do I ask to move on? It's more so, man, is this guy ready to help us? And so, yeah, the pressure to make decisions really quickly is real. It's certainly easier in year 2 and 3 and 4. And I think in year 2, 3, and 4, your development of the guys that are redshirting, your young guys, or maybe guys that aren't redshirting but just aren't playing a ton, that development has become so much more critical, because you're going to have to make a decision in the same breath that winter on them, rather than in the past where you've been able to make it in the spring. So evaluations got to be elite. You got to go with your gut in a lot of things. And I think the gathering of information more than ever is so critical right now. And that's why I say, like, you're using every minute of every day to try to gather every piece that you can to try to make elite level decisions. Because once you get to the end of January, your roster is your roster.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. War Eagle.